Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Allen West, United States Representative.
Don't you dare go running down my little town where I grew up, and I won't curse your city lights. If you ain't ever took a ride around, I cruise right through the heart of my town.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. And last year at CPAC, I congratulated you on restoring conservatism to Washington, D.C. With your help, we were able to take back the United States House of Representatives, bring a renewed message of fiscal discipline and commitment to American values. It was a moment of triumph for the conservative movement, and we do well to enjoy it. But a new battle looms large in 2012, and now it is no time for us to sit back on our laurels feeling good about what we did in 2010. The moment has come for us to set our sights on something bigger. We must not be satisfied with holding 1/3 of the federal government if that means 2/3 are held by the liberal progressives. Our goal this time must be even bigger: to keep the House, to take the Senate, and to occupy the White House with conservatives. My sincere prayer is that this will be the year of a conservative renaissance. I think people are already coming to understand the old maxim that you can't give a person more than they have earned without leaving someone else with less than they have earned. I think that if Americans take some time to think about what they really, truly believe, many of them will discover that they've been conservatives all along. But if that is to happen, it is going to take each and every one of us doing a much better job of explaining who we are and what we stand for and defining that. Because for far too long, we've allowed the other side to paint us as racist, as sexist, inhumane warmongers. Well, today, as a conservative black Republican and former soldier, I'm here to set that record straight. Thank you. Thank you. We believe in effective and efficient government that is limited in its scope and fiscally responsible. We believe in individual sovereignty. We believe in free markets, traditional cultural values, and a strong national security posture. And what we simply want is a return to the fundamental American principles our founders envisioned and established, the ones they were dreaming of when they took to the battlefields of Lexington and Concord in 1775. Their vision was of a country where people would be free. Free to determine the path of their own lives, not assigned a role by a tyrant or a king. Free to decide how to worship, how to make a living, how to raise their children, and what the pursuit of happiness means to them. Inherent in that freedom would be the ability to choose their leaders for themselves. In this way, officials would be responsive to the will of the population, rather than the population being responsive to the will of those in power. It was a breathtaking idea, but the founders recognized that this was not going to be enough. Holding leaders accountable to voters is a necessary condition to keep government in check, but it alone is not sufficient. You see, the founders understood that power corrupts, and once elected, even good men will be tempted to find ways to expand their control. And today, the result is a federal government that would reach into areas better left to the states. They would try to improve human nature by force and coercion. And ultimately, they would decide by their own judgments about what is right and what is wrong, and they should override the judgment of the people. The founders knew that if government were allowed to restrict the freedom of the people, whenever the majority of voters said so, freedom would not long survive. And so therefore, they place clear boundaries on federal authority. They laid out in no uncertain terms the types of things government should have the right to do and the types of things it wouldn't. And they codified those limits in a document called the law of this land, the Constitution of these United States of America. And in creating a Constitution with clearly enumerated powers and explicit limitations, the founders were taking out an insurance policy. As long as that document remained valid, there would always be an upper bound on how big the government could grow and how much power its officials could amass. But over the course of the last 236 years, this country has lost sight of our founding document and its prescribed principles. We've allowed the federal bureaucracy to balloon out of control until no area of life is free from its meddling. Under the auspices of regulating interstate trade and looking out for public welfare and what is necessary and proper, government has shed the bonds of constitutional restraint. The future of this nation depends entirely on how we respond to that realization. The question is simple. Will we stumble blindly down the road toward a bureaucratic nanny state, or will we rededicate ourselves to the values upon which the United States was founded? Ladies and gentlemen, your answer to that question determines whether you're a liberal or a conservative. This is, in many ways, a tale of two philosophies, two diverging ideologies. It is the fundamental difference. We believe there's a value to every human life. As a result, we know that each American has the sovereign right to the fruits of their own labor. They believe that government has an unlimited claim on every individual's possessions. Anytime those in power can put those possessions to good use. We believe in the citizen, they believe in the collective. And the problem with that philosophy is that it assumes government knows better than we do on how our money should be spent. But that, of course, the decision about how a resource is employed by its very nature is truly subjective. Every day, Americans make infinitely personal choices about how to spend their paychecks. Maybe it involves saving up for their retirement or for their children's education. Maybe it involves investing in their futures by starting a small business. Maybe it involves traveling the world and expanding their horizons. Or maybe it means giving to a charity they believe in. What's right for one family may not be right for another. The important thing is that each family has the ability to make that decision for themselves. Liberty. Liberals worry that what's best for the individual might not be best for the public at large. Concern for the common good requires that government step in and appropriate our possessions to ensure they're used the way they think they should be. The Marxist maxim, from each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. But that philosophy assumes something vicious about each and every one of us. It thinks that we only care about ourselves, that we cannot be trusted to be good stewards of our resources, that we'll sit idly by while people suffer unless we're coerced into helping them by the force of the state. And when we object, the liberals ask, have you no compassion for people struggling to get by? My answer is, of course we have compassion. We just don't believe that the safety net should be used as a hammock. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We also know that people are innately generous and that the suffering in this world is matched only by humanity's drive to defeat it. To think we wouldn't willingly choose to look out for one another is to miss the intrinsic human good in humankind. It is the liberal philosophy, not the conservative one, that views humans as selfish automatons. Conservatives reject that formulation. We find it demeaning. These are two very different views of how we look at this world. One side believes it is our duty to blindly sacrifice what's right for us and our families so the government can do whatever it says is right for everyone else. It believes that when we make choices that don't align with its version of the common interest, that we have the right, or they have the right, to reach into our pockets and take out as much as they want until their vision is fulfilled. And they call that fairness. They call that fair share. They call that economic justice. They call that economic equality. But our side sees it for what it rightly is: legalized plunder, as articulated by Frederick Bastiat in the essay The Law, that strips us of our dignity as human individuals. Thank you. We also recognize that the public good is a misnomer created by our liberal friends. After all, what is the public if not but the people who comprise it? What is the good for the public if not that which is good for the people who make it up? It is distinct human beings who experience joy and pain and sorrow. It is not the so-called public good that matters. It is the personal good, the human good. And that makes this truly a moral issue. That's what conservatives believe. And as I've said before, it truly is the sincere desire that we have a conservative renaissance. But it's up to us to make the case for freedom. And if you don't think that this is a battle worth winning, consider the letter that was published in the New England Chronicle during the American Revolution, when it said, "For if tyranny should prevail in this great country, we may expect liberty will expire throughout the world." We are truly a beacon of liberty, democracy, and freedom. We are the rabble in arms, the last best hope for freedom on this planet. And we must not allow, thank you. And we must not allow the liberals to move us away from the conservative values of the American past, which sustain our present and shall secure our future. Our decision this December is an important one. Shall we honor the truth upon which the constitutional republic that we love was established? Or shall we be the mindless lemmings following liberal charlatans who seek to enslave the American will for their own ideological gain? In conclusion, let me tell you about a man who made a decision in his life. It comes from the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 15, where Joshua said, "And if it seems evil to you to serve the Lord, choose for yourself this day whom you shall serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." The choice could not be any clearer. As for me and my family, we will serve God. We will serve this constitutional republic. We will serve America. Thank God. God bless you. God bless America. Steadfast and loyal.